G'day jabronis, it is the Verd back with you again, and okay, so this is my first video being recorded after all the debacles with my old computer. I'm going to do a video on it probably after this one later in the day for me, because I'm recording this at like 2 in the morning, because I want to make sure it's up on time. But basically, this is my Major PL Week 5 match against Blue Rogue. He and I are actually really good mates. We've known each other since the PMC, and only played each other once, but it's probably one of the best battles I've ever had in my life. So, really, really good guy. And, well, we did actually have another battle in Major PL. So, currently this was technically the rubber match, I guess, between us. But we were on a bit of a back foot immediately. Even though I'm 4-0 and he's 0-4, I made some mistakes here. So let me break down what happened. So because I was having the computer issues, I wasn't able to use my normal computer to team build with, so I had to use this computer once I got it up. And so I was building on a timer, and I basically built a team that I thought was his team, not realizing that for some reason on the Major PL doc, they had fully updated all the they had updated all the transactions that were in effect for week 6. So basically on the dock was everybody's week 6 teams. Now, for somebody who was rushing on time and not really taking into account for that stuff, I thought that he had, all the mons that were there on his gen on his week 6, on his week 5 team, not realizing that for some reason, which I don't understand, they were all updated wrong. So yeah, it's on me. Maybe I could have checked, to just make sure. But at the same time, like, why would you update it a week before those matches are happening? It makes team building so much more frustrating. And it's the little things. But regardless, that happened. And then I was like, okay, this is fine. I whipped together a team. So we have my boy Drill. He's Sugarberry because of the Mammothwine and the Ments, with Rock Slide, Ironhead, Earthquake, and Rapid Spin. Then we got Babiri Kiss. It's like a mixed bulk with T-Wave, Air Slash, Roost, and Nasty Plot. Just pretty standard Kiss set. I could have ran maybe Flamethrower over Nasty Plot for Rachi, but kind of liked Plot to be able to break through a lot of his defense. Plus, if I plot and then Rachi comes in and it's paralyzed, I can just flinch it down anyway. Then I had... Okay, so this is where it gets a bit... I had a physically defensive Crab because I thought he had a Mega Absol. He actually has Mega Pidgeot because this is before the transactions that went through, but on the sheet it said Mega Absol. So I assumed, okay, there's a Mega Absol, and have a lot of checks to this thing. I'm gonna bring a Fizz Def Crab. I mean, technically it deals with Mammothwine and Ments, kind of, but other than that, it wasn't really needed here. The Kofag also, again, was meant to be kind of a semi-check to some things that he had, but it also was Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Pain Split, and Shadow Ball. So I assumed he didn't have Scrafty, I assumed he didn't have Pidgeot, I assumed it was a Mega Absol, and if it was a Mega Absol, it didn't have a setup move, I could just set up with my Kofag and be fine. If I knew there wasn't a Mega Absol, then I probably would have brought like a Scarfed Hooper to this matchup, because it would have been really nice against him. The Scully is Life Orb 2 attacks. I got Protect and Baton Pass. Basically, Protect allows me to outspeed the Pidgeot, and then Baton Pass will allow me to pass out to like Crab or Drill or Mana if I need to ensure things. I have to creep Rachi, which is kind of shit, because if it's a Scarf Rachi, I need to be able to Protect, outspeed, and then go for my move. I got Mega Horn plus P-Jab because against the roster he had, it made sense. And then lastly was meant to be an ICMZ Manaphy, like Tailglow 3 attack, the standard set, but unfortunately, because I haven't played Sun and Moon in ages, I realized that I didn't actually pick up the ICMZ. I must have missed it, or I don't know what happened, but I didn't have it, and it was meant to be ICMZ, which was super unfortunate. I decided, it's fine, he'll probably bring Clef with like Unaware to wall me anyway, so I'm going to bring Warterium Z, because that way I can surf. Clef might think he can live the next one, play it safe, then I can just go for the Warterium and knock it out. So, add options, I guess. He brought a pretty interesting team. I didn't expect Scrafty or Pidgeot because I thought that he had Absol and something else, so that was really frustrating. But regardless, I knew my lead was Drill looking at his team, barring Scrafty. It just matched up really well against everything. If Scrafty came in, I had Togekiss. If Amoonguss came in, I had Crab with Sleep Talk. So I felt pretty good about it, but we're going to jump into the game. This is a really dumb game to, like... For all the turmoil I've been through in the last, like, week, this was... I don't know, it was something. But he leads off with Mamo, as I lead off with Drill. Basically, my play here is just Iron Heading, because he should maybe go out to Scrafty, but he may also try and risk Rocks here. But I'm just going to drop an Iron Head to scout if he's Scarfed. If he is Scarfed, he's not able to knock me out with EQ. As he is not, I'm able to go first, so I know that he's not a Scarf Mamo. And the Iron Head does a ton, and we get the flinch. So cool, a bit of hacks in our way to start with, like it has been this season. Now, he makes a really aggressive play here. Don't know if it was the best play for him to make. He goes hard out to Jirachi. Now, that's a good read if you're expecting Iron Head again. I guess the reason he did this play was if I was a Choice Scarfed Drill, it made a ton of sense. And I kind of want him to think that way, which is why I stayed in on this turn. Because I wanted him to think maybe I was choice locked into Iron Head, and so I go for the EQ and just get ridiculous damage on the Rachi. But no, he Scarfed, goes for U-turn, and goes into his Scrafty. So he makes a decent play there. I still think it wasn't worth the risk of predicting a Scarf Drill on that turn of going out into Rachi. I think, you know, at that point, Mamo wasn't doing a lot for him in the matchup, and there was no real way to heal it, unless it was healing Wish Rachi, which it could well have been. But yeah, I just think at that point in time, it wasn't worth him doing that play. But regardless, he's going to go into Scrafty. He actually chooses Drain Punch and not Knock Off. I really thought he'd go for Knock that turn, but he actually chose not to, which is interesting. So obviously Togekiss can come in quite freely on this. I'm going to choose to Air Slash this turn because I feel like he's either going to stay in, or I didn't want to allow Mamo to come in for free, so I Air Slash here. As he actually stays in with Scrafty, and I do get another flinch, which is really unfortunate. Looking like an AV set. I'm going to Thunder Wave this turn because I don't think he's going to stay in, and I don't think he's going to go out to Mamo. I actually did predict him to go out to the Jirachi. Again, it seemed to be his play for some reason, just constantly going out to Rachi because he assumes it's going to be able to resist the super effective move. But, I mean, eventually I'm just going to pick up on those plays and punish, and I'm able to paralyze the Rachi here. And what I'm able to do is just go hard back out to my Drill because I can take the U-turn, I can take the Iron Head. I was contemplating going Rachi. Sorry, not Rachi, Manaphy, but I decided against it in the end. And he actually gets fully parried. Now that sucks because if he'd gone for like an attacking move on me, that could have hurt. But I'm in a bit of a power play here because I can pretty much drop an EQ for free. At this point, he doesn't have like any switch-ins. Earthquake at all. Like Scrafty can come in here, obviously, but I can just drop the EQ. And obviously 2 EQs here will be enough to knock out Scrafty. As it turns out, 1 is enough because I crit. Now, because he was not going to be able to outspeed me, because of Togekiss being able to outspeed him, it means that he would have died to the second one anyway. Unless he had Sucker Punch, that wouldn't have mattered. But he goes out into Ments, and here's where I actually make a misplay. I forget that Drill is now at -2, and I stay in this turn. I really shouldn't have, because I thought I was only at -1, and it's really surprising that this is obviously a very aggressive, like, fully offensive Ments, but I actually expected myself to only be at -1 here, which is why I Rock Slide, but this is a -2 Rock Slide. This does a ton to his Salamence, like an absolute ton, so that's crazy. I figure he may go for EQ here, but I have the Shooker, so I don't care, and I have the Babiri Togekiss in the back, so I can handle any Ment set that he throws at me right now. As Ment actually deities again, so he predicts me maybe to want to switch out this time, but no, I don't care, like, I've got the Shooker Berry, but at this point, I know that even with a Shooker Berry, he can kill me, so I actually make the play out to Togekiss because I feel there's no point for him to DD anymore. He definitely outspeeds everything on my team. He can, you know, bypass Scully now if it goes for a Protect. So it was really smart from him, but I am able to predict him to go for the EQ this turn. He needed to have EQ to break Drill. So I predict that, and then because I have the Babiri Berry and I have a lot of bulk in my Togekiss, a +2 Salamence's Iron Tail is not going to be able to knock me out because he's Jolly and not Adamant. If though he was Adamant, then I would have outsped him with Drill and could have flinched him, and judging on the way I've been playing today, it probably would have happened, but we do knock out the Ments, so probably the biggest threat on his team is gone. Well, I thought it was the biggest threat, and the main reason I thought it was the biggest threat was because I didn't expect a fucking Mega Pidgeot in this game. Now, I didn't really bring any checks to Mega Pidgeot, guys, as you can clearly see from my team. I didn't bring any switches. I easily would have brought... I know he could have had Steel Wing or HP Steel, but I definitely would have brought like a Babiri Carbink as well. If I'd known there was going to be a Mega Pidgeot out here, like it would have been something I definitely would have considered in this matchup. But I sacked Togekiss here because it's not going to do anything else in this matchup against anything else on his team. It's not going to get a chance to roost. I go out to Manaphy here, and if I had my ICMZ, I would have clicked it right now, and it would have knocked out this Mega Pidgeot. As he actually chose to stay in, he didn't want to allow the tail glow to go up. I would have clicked ICMZ to catch the Amoonguss, and as you can see from the damage here, the Ice Beam, if it had the Z move, would have easily been able to knock out the Mega Pidgeot, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen, so that's just really unfortunate. We lose Manaphy for literally nothing, which is dumb. Like, if I had the Z move, it would have been dead. So that's super, super annoying. But then again, I've been getting, like, a lot of hacks on him, so I can't really talk. I go into Scully. I feel like it's obvious I'm going to click Protect, but at the same time, I could be Cobra, so he does decide to Preserve. Because Amoonguss, is pretty safe here. So I'm able to just, like, go for my Protect. I do have one speed boost up, and I kind of want to gauge what kind of Amoonguss this is. I feel like I kind of misplay here. If he was Spore, this could have been really bad, but, I figured knowing the way that Rogue plays against Manaphy, he would bring an Assault Vest Amoonguss, and he goes for Foul Play. That doesn't actually do too much because I have HP investment in my Scolipede. I get the speed boost up, and what I'm going to do here is actually Baton Pass. Seems like a crazy move, but it actually turns out to be a stroke of genius, because the one plus side of this Crabominable is that it does have a lot of defense, and that means even though it's a Crabominable, look how much this Amoonguss's Foul Play is going to do to me. Yum. That does 0. And the Rocky Helmet kind of coming in clutch, getting a bit of damage off against the Amoonguss here. As I'm going to choose the Ice Hammer, as he actually chooses to stay in. I thought he'd go into Rachi, but Rachi would have died to Ice Hammer plus Close Combat. And Amoonguss lives on a Sliver. If that had died and not been able to go for the Clear Smog here, then, or the reason why this is massive, guys, is because of what would have happened on the next turn. So, because I would have been at +2 speed, there was a chance that I would have forced in the Pidgeot, which would have put me in a much stronger position in this game than what's probably going to happen here, because the dumb thing that happens on this turn is that because he lives on that Sliver, I have to go for CC, because if he goes out to Rachi, it's not that great for me because my stats have dropped, so there is a chance that like Scarf Rachi will outspeed me, so I have to CC there. As he goes out to Mamo, and this Earthquake would not be able to knock me out if I hadn't gone for Close Combat, which sucks. If I hadn't gone for CC, if the Amoonguss had died straight up, then it would have allowed me to be able to have a healthier drill, which I have to go into on this turn because I figure he might be choice locked or something, and I can just go for the EQ here. There's no reason for him to go Pidgeot and risk that Pokemon. If he wants to be ballsy and go Rachi again, be my guess, but he goes for Shard. The reason why this is dumb is because Drill didn't have to take that Shard damage. If I didn't have to click Close Combat and then he went into his Mamoswine, I wouldn't have lost my Crabominable. So, sorry, yeah, I wouldn't have lost Crab. I would have been able to get another kill, and he would have been forced to go Pidgeot, and if he'd done that, Drill could live the Heat Wave, and then it would have been him sacking off Jirachi, going into Mamoswine, clicking Ice Shard, then losing Mamo, and then at that point, because of the health that his Pidgeot's at, I would have won basically with Scully, but that doesn't happen, unfortunately. Kofag comes in, and like I said, I didn't expect Pidgeot, so it has no way to hit this thing. So I'm praying that he doesn't know that and just clicks Hurricane, assessing the threat. And luckily he does do that, and it is able to knock me out. Kofag literally was the most useless Pokemon in this matchup because I didn't think he had a Mega Pidgeot at all. So it is what it is, but now it comes down to a bit of a 50-50. I go into Scolipede, and at this point, if I click Mega Horn this turn, I can win just by killing the Rachi. But at the same time, there's no reason to risk. There's no reason to throw. My play is just going for the Protect. And just kind of playing from there, because at this point Heat Wave definitely kills Drill, and so my play here with Scully is just going for Baton Pass into Drill, hoping for full paralysis on Jirachi, because whether it be through hacks from either side or what like has happened, it's kind of come to a situation where my team that was not designed for like the majority of what he brought has a chance to still win. But he does break through paralysis, and that Ice Shard damage is huge too, because without that Ice Shard damage, I would not have died to Jirachi's Fire Punch. So that also sucks a lot in this game. But my only chance now of winning, guys, is dodging a Fire Punch from this Jirachi. So I go for my Mega Horn. It does connect Life Orb, Mega Horn, doing a ton. If I was Adamant, then I would have probably won this game as well. But we are going to win this game because Jirachi gets fully paralyzed. So we get incredibly lucky, guys. Like, these last couple of weeks, we've been getting ridiculous luck. I don't know if I really deserve it. I know I've been having a shit time with computer issues and life and that, but I don't know if I deserve this luck that I've been getting. Pokemon's a stupid game. We all know that, and, you know, I've been on the bad end of some really bad luck in the past. It was nice, I guess, maybe getting some good luck for once, but I think if I'd got the roll with Crabominable's not Crab Hammer, the Ice Hammer on the Amoonguss, it wouldn't have been as close as it was. But at the same time, if I hadn't got all that hacks at the start of the game, it would have been closer. But at the end of the day, guys, like I was saying, I think that if I had actually prepped for the Mega Pidgeot, and other mons of his team that were actually there, I would have matched up a lot better. Because as you saw, Mega Pidgeot destroyed me, and that's mainly because I didn't bring anything that could deal with Mega Pidgeot. And like I said, I mean, the big thing I would have brought would have been probably Carbink over Crabominable, because Crab was mainly there for Absol, and although Crab did come in clutch against the Amoonguss, I could have brought different techs for the Amoonguss, obviously, on my team. Like, I could have brought the safety goggles Hooper again, which would have been really solid against him, since, his team didn't really have a lot for a Hooper set like that. It could have been like Trick Room offensive or something else. Like, it could have been really, really strong against him regardless. I think he brought the AV Scrafty for Hooper, but at the same time, Dazzling Gleam's the thing, so I don't really know. But at the end of the day, all I can say is, guys, we pick up the 1-0 victory. We are now 5-0 with a plus 13 differential in the league. I believe there's 10 weeks of this season, so worst we can finish now is 5-5, which is pretty nice. Like, knowing that regardless we're going to finish even out, even if we lose out, is pretty good. But I do want to just explain a few things. One, I'm very sorry for the hacks. I do not enjoy getting hacks against people. I don't think that it's one of those things that I revel in. Like, the win was nice, but at the same time, I'd rather a fair game over a win 9 out of 10 times. And especially against a guy like Rogue, who I respect a lot, I would have appreciated it being a fair game. Secondly, still mad about how the dock was done, but at the same time, it's on me as a player to look through everything properly, so that's my fault. Thirdly, Scolipede and Excadrill now, after the halfway point of the season, have picked up 9. So Scolipede has 9 kills, Excadrill has 8 kills. They are currently the top 2 on the Major PL leaderboard, and Hooper is chilling on 4 kills. So the Drill Scully partnership currently with 17 kills in 5 games. They're averaging over 3 kills a game together, which is kind of scary. Scully's almost averaging 2 kills a game. I know it did get off a 6-0 sweep, but it's still a very scary prospect. And the biggest thing I want to announce is some transactions that were made that will be in effect for my next game. So I'll try and do like a quick little edit thing that you'll see on the screen here of what my team is now. So basically, the team before had Rotom, Crabominable, and Carbink, and I kind of exploited the Major PL's system without meaning to, in the sense that they have a system where if you pick Pokemon that are like from Tier 5, they can be Super Z-Mons, and I wasn't intending it to be like that. I was more just doing it because I realized that I could get the cheapest Mons from there possible, because it was basically free draft style. Well, not free draft, it was points, but it was points that could be really exploited. Like 5-point Mons can be really exploited. So I kind of snuck a few of those. It's basically like a 1-point Mon in the NPL draft. Like, it's way too cheap. So I snuck in Dwebble and Glalie, 2 like hazard Mons, but also like solid Mons in general for their move. Like, Dwebble with a Z move is kind of cool. There's a few options there, especially with the Super Z move and the fact that it has Sturdy. There's definitely some cool options for Dwebble in my team. But the main reason I did that was because if I do those 2 things, I could then just drop Rotom and pick up Superior. Now, I do lose an electric type from doing all that. Like, in hindsight, I probably should have thought that through and made one of my 5-point Mons an electric type. But at the same time, I feel that electric type Pokemon, if you don't have a fast one, there's no real point. Like, bulky ones are okay, but if you don't have one that's around base 100 speed, I just don't think it's that great. Like, Xurkitree's alright, I've used it, but it requires a Scarf like 9 out of 10 times, or the Salac Berry, to even be remotely good in format. So the team now, as you can see, is like ridiculously stacked. Even if you just remove, say, like, if you don't count the Glalie and the Dwebble, like, that 8 Pokemon team is very, very scary. So I'm really excited to have it. I think it's going to be a really solid team and very hard for people to deal with, and I am very surprised I was able to get away with it, but that's what I do. I find a way to exploit draft systems, I suppose. I've been doing it a lot. But we're going to move on from this. Like I said, we are 5-0 for the season right now, plus 13 differential. We're up against Daniki, our good friend Daniki again, who we did play in minors twice, and the Rosa Radenborg. Really keen to play him again, because like when I first was playing Dan, we were kind of like acquaintances, but now we're like besties. So it's going to be a really good game for sure. He is terrified of my team. I don't blame him, but he has some scary threats too. I believe he has like Coco and Dragonite, which are mons that my team can potentially struggle against. So I've got to be really careful about what I do in those situations. But I feel confident that my team will be able to get the job done and be able to deal with it. But we'll see what happens. At this point, I'm very, very fortunate to be 3-2. To be 5-0. I should realistically, judging on how some of my games went, I could easily be 2-3 because my last 3 games were literally 1-3 hacks. But that's just how Pokemon goes, and it's got me 5-0. And I'm honestly, you can't complain. Like, hacks happens, and you can apologize, but at the end of the day, there's nothing you can physically do about it. So there's no point trying to apologize because the people coming from a guy who's been hacked a lot, apologies mean like fuck all. Like, it's just at the end of the day, hacks happens. You can't really do much about it. You just have to kind of move on, dust yourself off. I know Rogue will do that. He's just having a bit of a mulligan season. He's 0-5, but I know that he's a much better player than 0-5. Massive respect to him. Go check him out. All the coaches will be in the description. I'm getting out of here. I've been rambling too long. Big ass new changes to the team, looking lit. I'm the Verd. I'm back, bitches. I'm out here.